Welcome to Yamas and Niyamas in Pajamas. I'm Lisa with Yoga for Seniors with Lisa, and today I'm going to share with you some yoga wisdom. I'm going to use my little note cards and get to my mat, and all you'll need for this practice is a blanket or a block, or if you want both, you could use that. I've got my trusty little water bottle, and I'm actually going to sit on the block, which is on the blanket, which is going to give me a lot of space to do this, to come into seated pose, Sukhasana, easy pose. And this is a good place to start. In this version of Yamas, Niyamas in Pajamas, I am doing these poses on the floor. So we will not be getting up. This is about sharing a little bit of yoga wisdom, combining it with actually explaining what the Yamas and Niyamas are, which are moral and ethical principles. And the Yamas are principles that apply to you in relation to other people. And the Niyamas are principles that relate primarily to you as an individual. And the way I'm going to put this together is that we're going to have these principles. I'm going to share this wisdom because yoga is not all about the mat. It's not all about poses. There's a philosophy behind yoga practice, and there's devotion, and there's breathing and meditation and all kinds of things that go along with yoga. And yoga is about relationships, building positive relationships and getting to know yourself and that kind of thing. So in putting this all together for you, I've got the principles, the Yamas and the Niyamas. With each principle that I give you, I'm going to give you a pose to embody the principle. And this isn't like an exact match or anything, but it's going to help you see how we use the postures in yoga to embody and embrace the principles. And then I'm going to give you a practice, which is something you can take off the mat, which that's what yoga is about also. So we've got the principles, the Yamas and Niyamas, the poses, and the practice itself. And in the practice, we've got reflection questions, so I will share them one by one. I'm using my cards just to remind me to keep everything in order. All right, so the very first Yama, now I just want to say that these are kind of like the 10 Commandments in a way. Like if you were thinking of, oh, there are other moral and ethical principles. Yes, of course. These are sort of the yogi's version, if you will, and may even be broader than you might find in other texts, religious texts. So, okay, the first Yama is Ahimsa, Ahimsa, and it means non-harming. So we want to treat others in a way that we would want to be treated, right? So we don't harm anyone. We don't harm them with our thoughts. We don't harm them with our deeds. And also this could relate to yourself. So for Ahimsa, the pose is going to be just a heart-opening pose. So what I'd like you to do is start here with your hands together on your heart. I just have one on top of the other like this. And we're just going to open the arms and open the heart. So first of all, take a big, deep breath in. And then as you exhale, you open the heart. Inhale, bring the hands back together, fill up the lungs. As you exhale, open the heart. Opening your heart is expanding your heart with more compassion for yourself and others. One more time. Inhale, nice big breath in. And as you exhale, open the heart. And then the practice, the reflection question for you is, where can I replace criticism with compassion? Where can I replace criticism with compassion? So the principle is non-harming, the pose is heart-opening, and the practice is the reflection question. Where can I replace criticism with compassion? All right, that's Ahimsa. The second Yama is Satya. Satya, Satya. This means truthfulness. So living in truth, living in reality, and being true to who you are and true to others. Living your truth. That's what Satya means. The pose for Satya, we're just going to do a little neck work here because the truth emanates from your voice, right? From your heart and your voice. So we just take a deep breath in. As you exhale, take your head over to the right. Relax your shoulders. Inhale again. And exhale, take your head over to the left. Relax your shoulders. Inhale. As you exhale, over to the other side. Deep breath in. Exhale to the left. One more time. Inhale to the right. Inhale. Exhale to the left. And from here, just move your head around in circles a little bit. Just go one way, maybe 2 times. And then the other direction. This is a gentle practice. And then gently bring your head back to center. So that was Satya, truthfulness. And the reflection practice is, what truth for you is asking to be acknowledged? What truth for you is asking to be acknowledged? All right, the third Yama is Asteya. Asteya, it means non-stealing. Don't take what's not yours, including credit. So if someone else comes up with an idea or a concept or a product or a service, we don't steal that either. That's theirs. We create our own from our own creative genius. And so we're going to just, the pose for this one is just a simple side stretch. So hands to the side. Inhale the left arm up. And then as you exhale, bend to the right and say to yourself, I have enough. And then inhale, bring your arm back up and exhale, release. Inhale the other arm up. And as you exhale, say, I am enough. I am enough. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, release. Repeat 2 more times. Inhale, I have enough. Exhale, side stretch. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale again. I am enough. Exhale. Feel that side stretch. Inhale up. Exhale down. One more time. Inhale. I have enough. I have enough. Inhale again. Exhale, release. Inhale, I am enough. I am enough. These are important words. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, release. So the practice for Asteya is, number 1, giving credit where credit is due. And number 2, where might comparison be robbing me of contentment? Where might comparison be robbing me of contentment? In other words, don't envy what other people have. Create what you want. And because the more you compare yourself to others, the unhappier you will be. Trust me. All right, the next Yama, this is the last Yama, is Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya, which means Wise use of energy. Wise use of energy. Brahmacharya. And the way we're going to practice this is to bring your right hand on your belly and your left hand on your heart. Right hand on your belly, left hand on your heart. And just close your eyes and bow your head just a teeny bit here. And as you inhale, breathe in to the right hand. Let the low belly expand. Keeping the low belly expanded, breathe into the left hand where the heart is. So you're breathing into the heart now. With a fully expanded breath, hold the breath for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. And then exhale that air out. As you exhale, draw the belly in. And then at the end of your exhale, hold it for a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Then another deep breath into the low belly with your right hand. Breathe into the right hand. Then into the left hand. And count. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. As you exhale, draw the navel in. Relax your shoulders. And at the end of your exhale, hold it. 1, 2, 3. One more breath. Inhale into the right hand and then the left hand. Holding your breath for 1, 2, 3. Releasing the breath slowly. Draw the belly in. At the end of your exhale, hold for 3. 1, 2, 3. And then release your hands. Roll your shoulders back a little bit. Nice big breath in. Exhale. Okay, and so then the practice for this one is, where can I set a boundary to protect my energy? Where can I set a boundary to protect my energy? I love doing yoga in my jammies. All right, we're on to the Niyamas. Are you ready? The first Niyama is Aparigraha. Aparigraha, it means non-grasping or attachment. So you know how we get attached to things? Well, it's not super helpful. You know, it's okay to be attached in your relationships. In certain relationships, of course, you're going to feel attached. But this is really more in reference to concepts, ideas, things. Here's an example. So I bought my daughter olive oil cruet, and it has a pourer on the top, and you can see through it because the one she has now is opaque. You can't see through it, so she tends to over pour the olive oil and then it goes all over onto the counter and she wastes all this oil. All right, so I bought her this one without asking her. I just bought it, and I asked her if she wanted it, and she said, well, you know, I have the blue one, right? And I said, yes, but you can't see the oil in the blue one. And I said, I don't know how attached you are to that, but if you are, it's fine. Like, I can hang on to the one I've got. So again, like, I'm not even attached to the outcome, right? I just put it in her hands. Like, I've offered this gift, and then she gets to decide. And if she decides she doesn't want this thing that I got her, it's okay. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I'm not attached. So the way we're going to practice that is just to open the hands. Like this, we're not even going to do an exercise here, but we could like just close and feel, you know, grasping is like, I feel grasping physically is kind of like when you're holding on to something really tight, right? But then we get to practice just letting go. We do not need to stay attached to every little thing, right? So inhale, close the hands, exhale, open. I trust what is. I have enough. Close, grasping, and then open. All right, and then the practice for this one is, what am I holding on to that is ready to be released? What am I holding on to that is ready to be released? And so we've got our principle, Aparigraha, which is non-grasping. The pose is opening and releasing. And the practice is asking yourself, what am I holding on to that is ready to be released? The next Niyama is Saucha. Saucha, S-A-U-C-H-A. It means purity or clarity in body, and thoughts. So I think of this relative to the diet. How are we treating the insides of our body? How are we cleaning the outsides of our body? How are we thinking? Are we thinking clearly? And that's the principle. The pose here is a seated cat-cow. So we're just going to take the hands on the knees like this. And on the inhale, we'll open the heart, just pull the shoulders back, lift the chin a little bit, squeeze the shoulder blades. And then on the exhale, we'll round the back and draw the belly in, shoulders forward, chin forward. Inhale, come on up into your, this would be the cow pose of cat-cow, right? The back bend. And then exhale and round the back. One more time. Inhale, open the heart. Exhale, round the back. Saucha, purity and clarity in body and thought. So here's some reflection questions to practice. One is, can I clean out a closet or a drawer? Can I get rid of something? And another question for you would be, what would create more clarity in my life? What would create more clarity in my life? So a lot of yoga is about thinking clearly, gathering your thoughts, living in truth. All right, the next niyama is Santosha. This means contentment, and contentment means a general feeling of happiness, like regardless of your circumstances. So we're just going to take a gratitude breath here. Let's take the hands together in front of the heart, and then take a nice big breath. Inhale. And as you exhale, just say to yourself, I am so grateful. Thank you. Another. Inhale. Big breath in. Exhale. I am so grateful. Thank you. And you can name something if you're grateful for something in particular. And one more time. Inhale, a gratitude breath. Take that breath in. And as you exhale, say, I am grateful. Thank you. Contentment for what you have. And the reflection question for you to practice is, what is already good right now? What is already good right now? The next niyama is called tapas. Tapas, and this means discipline. So tapas is T-A-P-A-S, and it's about discipline. And the pose that I've chosen for this is hard, but it's right here on the floor. My left foot has completely fallen asleep. So anytime you're in a yoga pose for too long, feel free to come out of it. You do not have to sit there that long. But I'm going to wake this foot up real fast. And then I'm going to come into what's called plank pose, which is, I think, a highly disciplined, difficult pose to hold. And I'm going to give you some options here. You could take your knees back a little bit and then take the shoulders forward and pull your belly in and just hold that for, a count of 5. So I'm working on this one daily. I'm adding seconds to it so that I can build up more strength. But here's the pose, plank pose. And this is a great pose to practice for tapas. And you want to breathe in and feel your discomfort. Notice your discomfort. I see the string from my jammies falling to the floor. There we go. Let's even those out. Now, you can just practice this, coming up and down. If you're not used to doing this pose, just be gentle with yourself. That's really what I want you to do, is be gentle with yourself. I'm going to remove the block and just sit on my blanket. You can sit on whatever you want or not on anything. I'm coming back into a seated posture, and we're going to do our next, I wanted to give you the practice for tapas, and that is, what small action would my future self thank me for? What small action would my future self thank me for? I love that question because sometimes it's not easy to be disciplined, right? It takes a lot of effort. And sometimes we don't want to do things that are good for us in the long run. But I think that's a beautiful question to bring to your practice. Okay, we've got two more niyamas. The first one is Svadhyaya. 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 And this is actually my favorite niyama, and it means self-study. Self-study. So really spending time in contemplation and meditation and journaling and understanding who you are at your core, really learning about yourself and your personality, your wants and your likes and your dislikes and all of the things. Because knowing yourself is just so helpful in life. You know, it's like, well, I know what I like and what I don't like, and I know how to set boundaries, but can I be flexible? Like, where can I shift and morph into a version of me that might grow or might be, you know, happier or whatever. Anyway, so I just thought we would do a little twist with this one. And a seated twist kind of looks like this. You're going to take, in this case, it's my right hand. It might be your left hand on your opposite knee or on the thigh. It doesn't have to be all the way here. It could be up here. And then you're going to take the opposite hand behind your back. On your inhale, you'll lift up kind of tall. So you'll press the sit bones down and the crown of the head lifts up. And on your exhale, you'll just take a gentle twist to the right. On your inhale, you get tall again and you come back to the center. Then we'll go to the other side. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale and twist. Inhale up and exhale back. So you can repeat that a couple of times if you want to. I'm going to move on from here. But the principle, the principle is self-study, the pose is the twist, and the practice is, what am I discovering about myself? What am I discovering about myself? So I use the twist as, well, I could look over here, or I could look over here. I could look in here too. All right, so that is Svadhyaya. And then last but not least, Niyama is Ishvara Pranidana. Ishvara is spelled Ishvara, Pranidana, Pranidana. And this means surrender. Surrender to God. And when I say surrender to God, I mean surrender to something way greater than yourself. Surrender to the great mystery of the universe, the great creator, the infinite intelligence of the universe. When you surrender to this force or this spirit, and you know there's something greater than you, which is creating you and guiding you. And when you tap into that, life can be easier. And so the pose for this one is forward fold. So I'm going to really actually take the legs out in front because I'm tired of crossing them right now. So I'm going to just shake them out and sort of move the feet around in circles. But the pose for Ishvara Pranidana, surrendering to God, in my mind, is a forward fold. So in this sitting practice, we're going to just take the hands and move them forward and start to take them to a place where, oh, I'm feeling that now in my hamstrings, and you want to pause there. And then just bow your head. Because this is not about forcing ourselves into a pose. It's about experiencing the principle in the body. It's about embodying the principle. So forward fold is often seen as surrender, or child's pose is often seen as surrender. In fact, you know what? I'm going to demonstrate child's pose for you so that you can use this one if you prefer. And I like to use a blanket under my ankles because I'm getting old. I'm a senior. And it just feels better on my ankles when I put a blanket under them. Feet together, knees apart. And then this is one version of child's pose. One way to surrender, you could also, put your arms out like this and your head to the floor. Take a few breaths there. Feel the ribs expanding. And notice how the body's, where the resistance is in your posture. The breath always helps to move into the resistance, to create capacity. And the practice that you're going to take off your mat is, what would it feel like to trust the process? Or what would it feel like to trust the universe? Or what would it feel like to trust God? And so that is your Yamas and Niyamas in pajamas. And I'm so glad if you stuck with this together, if you stuck through this video, thank you. And also, I hope you got something out of it. So just to recap, what we did was shared a little bit of yoga wisdom today. We put it all together by combining the principles, the Yamas and Niyamas, moral and ethical principles. We embodied these principles with a pose, and then I gave you something to practice off the mat, which was a reflection question. So, thank you again for joining me. Namaste.